Hello and welcome to the SRA Specific Skills series. And this is the last book for spelling. This is book F. I don't have G or H. The grade level is directly associated with the letter. So F would be 6th grade. And you don't have to be a 6th grader, obviously. This is just telling you the expectation at this particular grade. These are the things you should be able to do, perform, execute without any kind of bobbling around. These are some of these are going to be things that you've learned even in previous grades. So I wouldn't count on this really just identifying with the 6th grade. Out of all the other programs out there, the SRA skills kind of extend. So if you're going through this book and you're still confused, I have books D and E for spelling as well. So if you want to start below where you are just to make sure you have those solid foundations, build yourself up to F, perfect. First thing that I want to say is these videos are for educational purposes only. If you're planning on printing this out and you really want to take full advantage on using this material and revisiting, and as a parent, because this is really for those parents being asked to be their teachers at this particular time with the COVID-19 going on, make sure that you're taking the time to review some of these things yourself and build that confidence, because it's not easy trying to take on another role, and I know that you're doing the best that you can, and the workload that's being put on these kids nowadays is more than what we've gone through. So, take your time, go through the material. That's also one of the reasons why I say if you're printing it out, get sheet protectors. If you want to do the lessons yourself first and check your answers, at the end of this video, I have the answer keys. So I'll be zooming in so you can see the answers to the language activity pages as well. Because these books have a built-in assessment. So as you move through the units, you're expected to stop at a particular point in time and visit those terms, the application of it, and also in a real life situation where you're reading something, can you actually perform this skill beyond the context? So it adds that rigor to it to make sure. And then of course there's also an activity, an independent activity, so to allow your student to show that they can perform without being, it's like a lawyer having leading questions, like you're feeding them enough information for them to get to the answer that you want them to say, whereas they can independently think and utilize these skill sets. So I want to make sure that these books are being utilized well. So if you have the time to go through the introductory to the specific skills video that I have, please do so, because it's going to tell you the best way to go through these. In this particular book, there are 8 units in this book. So as you go through, you're going to have 4 language activity pages, but there's going to be a total of 8 units. Now, each unit, at the beginning of each one, they have notes. Those notes are what we call the rules for the spelling that is being conducted and an examples provided. On these books, you need to definitely read the to the teacher and to the student pages. Now, excuse me, when you get to the student page, at least in this video, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go through the outline. You can pause at that point in time and read on your own. You don't have to listen to me go through that if you're already just going to go through the book anyways. But before I get to the student page, I want you to know the answer key will have more specific information relating to the units. So if you're Googling or you're wanting to identify a particular spelling strategy, the best thing to do is go to the end of the video, look at the answer key to see what strategies are being taught within the lessons, and then you can determine whether or not on your own if you're going to continue looking at the activities of this book and following through. And of course, I've been saying this in all my videos, learning and learning skill sets in this particular environment can be particularly stressing. And I want to make sure that we build some fun into this, be creative. Teachers are required to add some elements of other disciplines in there. So like adding some arts in there. So whether it be literal art, drawing and or painting, um, poetry is also, just writing, creative writing is considered an art as well. But if you want to introduce music or whatever, that's wonderful. But for this, I want to say utilize some construction paper instead of just notebook paper with pen and pencil. Get some construction paper and make little books with these particular strategies set up. And then before the next school year begins, this is a great refresher. Understanding and remembering what you did before. So all the other books in this program, if you're going to look at paragraphs, sentences, mechanics, research, writing process, any of that stuff, you can create your own little learning books, or what I would call their little pocket books. They're things you just glance at, make sure you remember how to do it, refresh the rules, and utilize that all the way through. Because I have SAT and ACT students that utilize these books, because the pressure of tests can sometimes knock out your memory. Stressful instances, especially when you're asked to perform under a time limit, things are going to leave your head. You're not going to be so quick to stay on your feet when you've been, knocked a little bit with just the introduction of a timer. So reviewing as much as possible is always going to be the best strategy, because the more you see it, more you write it, the better off you're going to be. So needless to say, I'm saying that to lead into, you need to be writing everything down for these books in this program. Writing is so important because it's building that foundation for these books. So if you are using those sheet protectors and you want to utilize the multiple choice options, that's great and that's wonderful. Just know that when you're writing it down, I would rather you write the answers down, not write A, B, C, or D on a sheet of paper only. You're going to write that down next to the actual answer that's associated with it. And in some particular books, especially for spelling, if you're asked for singular and plural, especially for book F, you're a sixth grader, you're in middle school, or you are expected to have middle school mentality at this particular time. So that means if you're going to be doing singular and plural, make a table, chart it out. This is, this column is singular, this column is plural. It's going to help you, especially with your answers, because you can write the letter next to your answer either way. So you write the word in the singular section and write the word in its plural form. So this way you're going to be recognizing and building your visualization. So if something just doesn't look right, and you may not know what's wrong with it, you're already ahead of the game if it just doesn't look right. And we want to make sure that we build that intuition. So it's, get that gut feeling going. So when you know something is wrong or something looks wrong, it's best to follow your gut if you're training it correctly. All right, so for this video, I'm going to be spending 5 to 6 seconds on each page, and as I stated before, I'll be stopping on to the student page to review that, and then total silence from there on until we get to the answer key. Here we go. This is to the student page. This is the overview or outline of what you are going to be covering in the book itself. This is an example of, like I said, they're going to list the rule of what you're supposed to, be learning, and then they're going to give you an example of it. Most of the times, they don't come with a visual, but they will use other types of identifiers like bolded words, italicized words, brackets. In this instance, see how they're circling. A lot of times you have arrows pointing to certain things and having additional information. So make sure that you understand that this page is just showing you how you're going to be presented the information, and then you're going to be asked to perform. which means they're going to give you the questions, and then you're going to look at your rules, and your rules are going to guide you on identifying the correct answer. The only time you cannot access the rules or cheat and look at what you learned before is when you're completing the learning activity pages. That's meant to check your memory, so do not look at any notes when you get to learning activity pages. See how much you can recall, how much you've retained to complete the activities in that page. And make sure you do D. I've noticed that some students avoid in D, A, B, C, and D sections of language activity pages. For 6th grade, you definitely need to be doing D. That's independent work. We need to see that you are performing these skills with fluency. So in other words, you should be able to, we're doing a lot of reading and you're answering questions, great, wonderful, but can you write and utilize these skill sets on your own without being prompted? And of course, down here, just like in any classroom, a teacher provides the learning goal and the learning objective for the day. This book has the learning goal once you finish it. This is what you're expected to have learned and continue to use moving on to the next grade level. And now that I'm done talking, nothing but silence until the answer key. is the end of this book. Let me get to the answer key. Okay. Let's zoom in so you can see the answers. Answer key is organized in chronological order, so you can go from left to right, column by column. Pages are included, so you can have an idea just by looking at the answer key, the breakdown of the unit, how many pages it's going to cover. So I'm going to pause in different areas so you can pause the video and see what the answers are as you check your work. Alright, now I'm going to zoom in so that you can see the answers. So these are the answers for the first lap, and you can look at the last lap at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but when you get to the last lap, you can pause it and look at your answers at this point. And then these are the answers for the second lap. And then these are the answers for the third lap. All right. That concludes this video. I want to make sure you know that this video is going to be available on YouTube at KC Kite. Just make sure that you look to see if there's any other books there that you might want to use. I'm going to have videos there for the SRA Skills series, and all of them are going to have the answer key at the very, very end. So hopefully this will help. Till next time.